everybody, and welcome to the Disruption Hour. My name is Lincoln, and this is Jasper? Wait, what the fuck? Who the fuck are you? What the what the fuck are you doing here? Holy shit!
I got invited somehow along the way. I got invited, and it's a takeover. No, it's not. It's actually not a takeover.
Well, I mean, look, you were a planned guest for this podcast. And unfortunately, you have been given the promotion. So this is good in your career. This is a career-defining moment for you.
I always wanted to, I'm a big fan, big podcast fan, and finally making my big break.
Finally making the big break on the Disruption podcast.
Beautiful.
Now, unfortunately, in sad news, Jasper will not be joining this podcast, unfortunately. He is in a mental health break, so send him mental health love. We appreciate Jasper. We love Jasper, and, we're here for Jasper, okay? So if anyone wants to drop a comment for Jasper, or, we'll leave his Instagram in the description so you can send him some love and berate him to fucking come back, then that's what we should do. So yes, if you're watching Jasper at home, we love you and we care about you. Alrighty, Connor Armstrong, welcome to the Disruption Hour.
Pleased to be here.
How does it feel being a viewer of the podcast and now experiencing the podcast room yourself, knowing that this isn't somebody's garage like I've heard people say?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people. It wasn't until a couple of weeks ago when I spoke to you that I got the lowdown of how it all happens and, what all the prep is, and glad to finally see it. Did take me by surprise, but in a good way.
All things come in good time. That's good it. Surprises.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, I've been following since episode 1, and
so you've been a real hardcore fan.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love podcasts, and I love, like the complexity and the division between, because that's what makes it special. I think, and any range of topics or whatever, just a search away. So they help me through a lot as well. Yeah,
it helps, I guess, people dissect, what's currently going on. Yep. Because, the thing with the news is that it isn't really, it's quick shot chat and, that's it. Yep. You can make the argument, with shorts too, but, when people are able to watch, a full podcast, they're able to gain, maybe some knowledge, maybe some experience and, bring that into the table. And
Yeah, you can really narrow it down to specifics, just one certain thing or a group of things if you're lucky, it all aligns and yeah.
And that's very good. So how do you relate with certain medias? Like what are some of the things that you enjoy about film, television? After work, you come home, and what do you get excited about?
Well, look, my main. That's really when I think about it, my real main form of media is YouTube. Like that's, it's got everything, it's got the tabs of, the latest music and, I'm not much of a news guy, so it's handy to just be subscribed. You got it all right in front of you, segments of it. That's my main form of consumption for media. And when it's not YouTube, you're getting the main highlights on Facebook or Insta Reels or your For You page on that little app, TikTok
Chinese spyware app. Yep.
Going to start World War III or something, but that's my main hub, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
my main hub for consumption, media consumption.
Yep. So the algorithm has got you hooked right in well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it gets us somewhere along the line. It's just a matter of where, But yeah, like it's very, very clear that algorithms are a thing, and all you can do is just get amongst it, really. Yep.
Yeah, it's
find you.
It's basically just become so prevalent that it's unavoidable. But in weird ways, like, you know, it works well when it works well, and when it doesn't, you know, it's like shit, you know.
Well, that's it. Yeah, no, that's it. That's, you know, effective in more ways than one, and you know, it also has its cons, just like anything. So
yes,
yeah.
So you recently went to a trip to Americana.
Yes, I did. Yep, the US of A.
Yep. And
the land of the free.
The land of the free, the land of the brave,
the land of opportunity.
Lots of opportunity.
The list goes on.
Now, yeah, this is interesting because this was prior to the assassination on Trump. Like, you had just come home before the assassination. I actually thought that you were still on your trip when that happened, and I was like, oh fuck, it's kind of good. Like, and I was thinking about messaging you like on the plane and shit, but you know, because of jet lag, you would have fucking, you know, messaged me days later.
It was close. It was like probably, I think maybe it was, don't quote me on a date, it was like the 14th of July, and I think I flew back on the 12th. So it was close.
Yeah.
Close. I was also nowhere near where it happened. I think he was in, what was it, Philadelphia?
Yes, Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the news broke when I landed, and you know, it's like anything. You get that instant, like, heart-stopping moment where you see assassination, and then you see, you know, that name. But you know, immediately upon hearing it, you're just on it within just a blast, and like just watching it. Yeah, man, that guy's so lucky. He's so lucky that he's still with the living.
Yeah,
like, one movement, and you know, the crazy thing is that when they, you know, break it down and say if he hadn't moved, he wouldn't be here. So yeah, scary stuff. I'm glad that it turned out the way it did.
I would like to say that the shooter was apparently one of the worst shooters in his grade. Like, you know, he just missed all the time, all his targets and everything. Yeah. And you know, there was some very interesting, you know, gun YouTube videos of how the angle of how this guy actually could have shot, you know, the president, and it was deemed in that video that it was, you know, a miracle, you know, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, you know, it's thrown right at you just through about every form of media that happened. And, you know, I think you covered it a few podcasts ago, and we actually spoke about it at my house as well, is that, you know, it doesn't matter where you stand, doesn't matter, you know, what side of the fence you're on. It's not okay to, you know, incite that or encourage that or even do it. Like, it's you can't. It's
because as soon as something like that is encouraged, like, at all, it's okay. Well, then let's just eliminate all politicians. Oh, let's just kill everyone.
Where do you draw the line?
Exactly. Where do you draw the line? And the line should be drawn somewhere, and that's at violence, and that's at murder.
Yep, absolutely.
So now, anyway, in regards to your trip, you had a good time. It was part of one of them Kentucky tours.
Yes, yep, 18 to 35 youngsters tour or whatever.
Wait, they count 35-year-olds as young?
Some, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the main thing on their website. You go to the FAQs. Why is it 18 to 35? And you know, somewhere, I guess in summary, they just think, oh, it's the best. I don't know. It's 18 to 35. I don't know. I don't work for them.
I mean, if a 35-year-old MILF is coming along with me to fucking tour, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the oldest we had on that, because it was my second one, this American one. So kind of had some prior knowledge on it. And the oldest was 32, I think, 32, whereas on my other one, there was a lot more multicultural. There was a lot more, you know, widespread. Whereas this one was just pretty much all Aussies. But anyway, there was like 34-year-olds, people turning 35 that year, or you know, the year after, and it was a lot more older people than it was younger people. You know, and a lot of these people were like in relationships, and you know, the stigma with these things is that you know, hooked up with anyone already prior, and stuff happens, and don't need to elaborate on that.
You're allowed to elaborate on those details.
But no, look, it's just it was a good trip. It was a good trip. It was eye-opening. I've always wanted to see their culture. You know, we've been consuming their culture for so many years on, you know, our screens, on our devices.
Yeah, most of the movies come from America, because our movies, I'm sorry, I'm just going to call it, I know I'm entering in the scene, but we've got some dog shit out there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, oh yeah, look, you know, there's some out there that are better than others. There's some out there that I wouldn't say are frequent, but every now and then I go and watch, you know, a couple.
Yeah.
Couple old Aussie classics. I say old because, like, what, that one's like... Yeah, they're both in the 90s, the ones off the top of my head. But, like...
Oh, which ones are you referring to?
There's a movie called The Big Steal with Ben Mendelsohn in it. I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Mendelsohn. He plays Talos in Captain Marvel, the Skrull or whatever.
Wait. But yes, the...
Yeah.
I questionably think he's gay or something. Like, there's something... Yeah, there's something off with him. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a lisp, and but he's a good actor. He's got some great. From that, not from that movie, but he's got, you know, Star Wars and Rogue One, and
yes, Rogue One. He was good in Rogue One.
Yeah. We're this close to greatness or something, whatever he says.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, there was that one. That one's good, and then Heath Ledger in. Write this down, everybody. Google this movie. Bookmark it. Two Hands. It is about as Aussie as it gets. There's like a full on like bank robbery, and I don't want to go into too much detail. I want the viewers to experience this, and even yourself. You haven't seen it.
I'm gonna have to.
It's a movie called Two Hands. I think 1999. It's got Heath Ledger in it, and you know, and who else is in it? Brian Brown, good like classic Aussie actor. Rose Byrne, you know, but I'm getting off topic. You're actually not. This is all on par. There's a couple good Aussie ones. There's probably more out there that I probably am not thinking of presently. But if I think old Aussie classics, I'm not even. Yeah, just Aussie classics in general. That they're the first that come to mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it was just really, really eye opening in regard to the trip going to LA. You know, seeing the Walk of Fame, you know, the Chinese theatre, seeing all that stuff. It was a real young boy's dream come true. Yeah.
Apart from Rogue One and the Marvel TV show that Secret Invasion. Yes. Yeah. I mean, he was in that. You know, I was kind of like, oh, okay, all right. But you know, when I heard, you know, terrible shit, I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I saw Ben Mendelsohn in a Australian production about this girl, about his daughter who has, you know, cancer or something, and then she befriends, like, you know, an Eshe, you know, kind of guy, and I was going into it thinking, oh, you know, it's going to be, you know, a romantic fucking thing, and, you know, I could tell it was Australian, so I'm like, okay, all right, let's get into it, and the dialogue was just so bad. We just, as Australians, our dialogue is so trash.
Yeah.
Like, we're just trying to come up with the most dramatical fucking piece every goddamn fucking second, and it annoys the absolute shit out of me, and it annoys the shit out of everyone because no one fucking, you know, watches it.
Yeah. No, look, the acting's definitely questionable in some of the ones that I've watched over time. Like, I couldn't even give you a title on some of them. Just like some straight to DVD, like obviously straight to DVD movies and stuff like that. The acting's going to be pretty one dimensional and pretty bleak. But there's probably way more. Like, you know, even Matt, the original 1979 Mad Max, back when Mel Gibson was Australian.
Yes,
in a way.
yes.
Like, I think he was born in New York, you know, raised here, and then you hear him talking in interviews now, and he just sounds American. He's American. But that's another one.
It's still good to see, like, a good Aussie like him, you know, kind of had a really successful Hollywood career, for sure.
Yeah, he's a real bright spot, you know, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Mad Max was a completely Australian production or if it was an American one, because that's what tends to happen. Like, when American productions, you know, like the Australian movie, that was an American production. It had a lot of Australian actors in it, like, but it's as soon as when America actually steps in and goes, oh, you know, hang on, we need to fix up this dialogue here. Like, it tends to do a little bit better. You know?
Yeah. No, look, I can't go into the ins and outs of what is filmed here and what's not. But what I do know is that pretty sure like 95% of the actors in that movie are from here. You know, the toe cutter's from here. You know, Steve Bisley's character is from here. You know, I could go on, but yeah, I won't.
So what happened in your trip to America? What did you explore about America? I've been to America. It was many years ago when I was in bloody primary school. So we're talking ages now. So how much has America changed over the years since I've been to it? Because all I remember was Mickey Mouse and chasing some fucking geezers in Washington DC. That's my mum's favorite memory. So
yeah. Oh man, yeah. Didn't really encounter any geese, but
no,
didn't encounter many geese on my journey. No, I can't elaborate on how they're going over there. But look, covered 9 states. You know, it was 3 weeks, and as you can imagine, 9 states, 3 weeks. Maximum 2 stays at a city. Sometimes there was 1 night stay, and there was some pretty rough mornings getting up early, get on the bus. But
God.
Yeah, no, there was surprisingly I made it on time every time.
Yeah.
No word of a lie. There were some people that had to get the tour manager almost knocking their door down because he laid it on real hard, real thin. Do not be late to the bus because every night he'd put in the WhatsApp, depart from yada yada at this time, and
God,
and we were always, there wasn't one night that we weren't out into the AMs,
Jeez.
and that's what comes with these tours. That's what comes with these young people.
Yeah.
I say young people, but every tour you're gonna have nights like out in the AMs, a lot of memories,
and
a lot of forgotten memories that happened, but you don't remember happened, and
yeah. I don't know if I could actually do it, with other people. Like, I'd honestly rather travel alone than with a Kentucky tour thing because, I would get to control when the hell I wake up, and I get to do my own schedule thing and not have get the fuck out of the fucking room and it's time to holiday.
Look, I once sat where you are sitting now and said the very same thing. But you know what changed my mind? Going on one.
Yeah.
Going on one changed my mind. I went on my first one in 2020, just across the ditch, New Zealand. Awesome. Had an absolute blast. That was much smaller scale, much more in my price range. This is when I was 18. So yeah, it was relatively cheap for me back then. Couldn't really afford much else. Could not have afforded what I went on this year. But met a lot of good people. It was a lot more multicultural, a lot more diverse, that one. And still talk to people from that tour to this day. My closest friend from that trip is actually a Brit. He lives in Yorkshire.
Oh wow!
I don't know when I'm going to be able to get over to him, but dying to get over there and see him. And but. You got to have that exposure. It's one of those things. It's like anything. It's like, I won't do that. From the outside looking in, you might not feel it. You might not. Every part of your body's probably saying, "Oh, it's not for me." But you go on it. You experience things. I just love that experiencing things with other people and people around my age group, and getting to know new people. That's special. While also taking in new sites, new everything. And I'll go on another one for sure. I don't know how many more I'll go on before I'm not in the bracket to go on anymore. But
will you ever go on your own solo trip? You organise yourself, or with a friend, like me. I don't know,
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I just it's more for me. Because I'm a pretty rookie traveller, it's more for me getting my bearings. I'm with these things. All I've got to cover all I've got to worry about is showing up to the airport on time and arriving to the hotel the day before the tour begins, and then from there on out, my transport's covered, my accommodation's covered.
Yeah.
That's why I give these, not even just that one, not even just that company, but I give praise to any company that it's just an ease of admission, ease of, worry, while travelling.
Yeah, but it's something that's crossed my mind, traveling, I guess, for me is not really, like a thing that I really feel like I need to do, just yet. It's more about, when things slowly start to happen for me, and for this channel and for us, like I'm really at the sort of building stage, for me.
You've got things going on behind the scenes that are probably, crucial enough to excuse not traveling, I would say.
Yeah, like, and because I'm sure at some point, I'll need to go on a business trip, and I'll enjoy, some parts of whatever city, I need to, explore and do, because I am that adventurous, kind of person.
Oh yeah.
But
yep.
it's just about the necessity of it right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no benchmark. There's no quota that anyone needs to meet for traveling.
Yeah.
For me, it's just, it's the old cliche thing that I hear a lot. Do it while you're young. Do it while
yes.
Do it while you don't need a walker. Do it while you do. True.
Yeah, there's some truth to it.
But there's financial, aspects. There's
time off work.
There's business aspects. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it, as the average person would know. There's a lot to commit to traveling. Yeah. In any form. Yeah.
So now you are. I tried to get you to answer the question, but you went a different direction, which is fine. That's how a natural conversation goes.
Yeah, it's my first time, guys. It's my first time.
It's okay. We'll take everybody. Now, you enjoy Marvel, don't you? You've been a fan of Marvel for how long, would you say? Well, since you had that face paint as a kid, with that photo.
Yeah, I mean, like Sonyverse, like that. Does that count?
Oh, of course. Like, that is, like, any Marvel character that has been depicted into a movie is Marvel.
Okay. Well, he wasn't in a Marvel movie as of end of 2021. So, look, I've been a fan of Marvel since Tobey Maguire. Yeah, since Tobey Maguire. Like, the fondest memories of when Marvel was peak for me was, putting the... Yes, VHS of Spider-Man 1, and I would have been like, not very old, when those movies come out. Like, what was it, 2002, the first one came out. So a few years after that, probably because that picture that you're talking about was 2004, and that was when Spider-Man 2 came out, and still to this day, Spider-Man 2 probably look close to number one for me. That movie...
It's that close?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's in my top 5 for sure. Because now that that's a part of the Marvel, the MCU, it just hit every note right for me, that movie. It just, the story, everything.
Well, are you talking about No Way Home, or are you talking about...
No, I'm talking about Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Pinnacle for me. It was the right time.
What do you think it was that made it so pinnacle for you? Because like, I'll be honest, like I didn't get to experience like Spider-Man when I was like really, really young. I got to watch like some of the cartoons here and there, with that old theme there, right? And that was great. And the Goblin. Now I'm gonna use my pumpkin bomb. I remember coming home from preschool and Mum's like, "What the hell are you watching? Like, why is this Goblin thing throwing pumpkin bombs?"
Well, they really do look like pumpkins.
Yeah, they are pumpkins.
They really do.
It's good pumpkins.
Yeah.
Spider-Man deserves to have pumpkins thrown at him. No, but look, what was it for you that made it peak?
Look, I just think, like, it's one of those few moments where the sequel trumped the original. It's one of those few moments where, I can say that was a good building block, but to get to here, to flesh him out pretty solidly in that first one. This is Peter Parker. We went through the Uncle Ben thing. We went through all that, and then to get just such a great story of, it's not a guy. How would I explain it? Like, I don't know. Some of the quotes from that movie, some of the story makeup, like, I don't know. the fight scenes, the fun. They balanced the comedy well, where he's got to deliver the pizza within 10 minutes or whatever it is, and she says, oh, she's not paying for those, and I just thought as a villain, I liked his ambition, trying to create that massive, like, the sun thing. I look, it's my favourite movie. I haven't watched it in a while. I can't really rehash the story.
Yeah, but it's been a while for me too.
I just thought the story, the fight scenes, the pacing, everything involved in it, really good. And, it's sort of, Doc Ock, how, his inhibitor or whatever it is, that's what's really, the method behind the madness, and he's trying to fight that, and, he's constantly having that battle.
Yeah,
the mental battle, and then the physical, and then the train fight, just iconic. The fight on the train.
And that's a good scene.
The trying to stop the train, and that iconic GIF where it's where he just manages to stop the train in time. That iconic GIF. Everyone knows that GIF where like he's got the veins popping in the forehead. And, look, that was a really poor explanation why it's up the top for me, but
because of a GIF. Yeah, but no, there was a lot more that you just said.
No, so. I just think like you got to think like how old I was when I experienced that movie. Like I wasn't that focused on the story, but it was more what was going on in it.
Well, I'm sure if like a movie can do a good job by keeping a young person like yourself back then, like how old do you reckon you would have been?
Well, three.
Yeah, so if a movie like that can keep you engaged at 3 years old, like a movie like that has done its job, and it's also appeasing to the comic fans and fucking everyone who's an adult now and shit like.
Tobey Maguire got a lot of criticism for his casting because he was not that that teenage kind of stereotypical high pitched voice, and he's living high school and then he's living part time. We saw that in the first one, but I just felt like that criticism of him was so like unjustified. And Andrew Garfield was pretty old as well when he got cast. And no one really said anything about him, but. Tobey Maguire got a lot of flack for, we needed someone younger. We needed, but that he's had a few significant roles since then, but that really solidified him.
Well, maybe
one of the best.
Maybe that could have been the reason why Spider-Man 3 was a bit of a flopper, because they really tried to, make him this emo-looking motherfucker with the Venom virus,
Look, and we discussed that, the other day as well. One of the many things we discussed when you were over at mine, that it it fell flat on its face. I feel like they tried to do too much in one movie. I don't know the ins and the outs. If Raimi got the tap on the shoulder, you must include this and you must include that from whoever, but it just didn't work. They just tried to do too much. I just feel like what they had going for it, Sandman, Venom, it was good. I just feel like Venom was pretty forgettable in that movie for me. Yeah. It was really forgettable. Yeah.
And I kind of like Topher Grace, like as an actor. Some people don't, but him being cast as Venom, I thought that was quite questionable.
Yeah, no, it was,
He's like, he's another photographer. Ooh.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He was getting really, really criticised as well, even before Tom Hardy's casting in what is now the new Venom. But it just tried to do too much in that movie. Whereas I feel like, Spider-Man 2, going back to it, I feel like it was pretty central. You really had one villain, you had one thing going on. He had a goal. The bank vault scene was pretty iconic as well. And I just felt like the vision was clear in that movie. The vision was clear. You could just, like as a 3-year-old back then, just focus on what's playing out before your eyes.
Yeah.
So
what do you think Marvel, the MCU now, like the MCU? Yeah. How do you feel about Marvel? Like, you can go back from, the start, from when they started their own production, going from Iron Man and Hulk and all that. How do you feel about those?
Yeah, look, the build up and the Infinity Saga, I guess 2008 to 2019, that they nailed it. They stuck the landing big time. There was a couple forgettable, mishaps in there. There was a couple, not even just like, the ones that you hear about. There was just, there was such a differing opinion on so many of those movies. But now then you see the aftermath of, how many of them have been falling on their how many of them have been falling flat on their face post that Infinity Saga. But
which ones do you think were the ones that weren't so peak out of the Infinity Saga?
Well, there's the second Thor movie was just an absolute bore fest. That what was it? Dark World, I think it was.
Dark World, yeah.
With the Dark Elves, absolutely fell flat on its face.
Yeah.
There was nothing appealing about that, and it sucks because Chris Hemsworth absolutely kills it as Thor. Like you could not have nailed the casting anymore, and Incredible Hulk was a bit forgettable. I think a large part of that was the Edward Norton, disagreeing with the studio, and Iron Man 2.
I don't actually know much of the story with that. So was it Edward Norton? What was the situation?
Look, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it come down to financial stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think don't quote me on that, but that's what I think it is. It's the same kind of thing. Oh God, what did you know? Terrence Howard, the guy who was originally Rhodey. James War Machine.
Yeah.
That came out recently that, that him and Robert Downey Jr. don't have bad blood. It was between the studio that he signed a 5-picture deal or something, and, it somehow changed.
Yeah.
I think it was related to that.
And, now the guy's, creating his own weird science fucking thing. Yeah. Have you seen some of the weird shit that he's saying?
No, I haven't really kept up with much. Look, because, a lot of people say that he's very difficult to work with.
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, you don't see him, getting interviewed by these, the talk show hosts. I think, widespread, he's, articles like that come out, you're pretty much acclaimed for one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
You're hard to work with, and financially, you're a pain in the backside.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of studios, a lot of, talk show, they don't want you. They don't want you. So I could not tell you one thing. I could not tell you one thing that he's done lately.
I think he was on the show Empire, and that's it. I don't even know what Empire is about.
Yeah.
But
yeah, okay. I
think it was about a rich black family or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that Incredible Hulk was an absolute dud. It wasn't a dud, but it was just had some good moments. That fight with Abomination or whatever it was the villain in that movie was pretty cool.
Why wasn't Eric Banner just recasted? Because Eric Banner was the one they
2003 or whatever it was.
Yeah, 2003. I never known anything about that.
Yeah, he was good as well. That movie, it's been that long since I've seen that movie, but it's. He should have got recast. He should have at least been in the discussion for a recast. How Mark Ruffalo came into it, I don't know. But I'm not faulting Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo killed it too.
Yeah,
He nails the Banner side of it really well, and that definitely should have been a lot more memorable than it ended up being. The second Iron Man, same thing as Spider-Man 3, tried to do too much. Tried to set up, because you got to think Black Widow. Pretty much they had to get her story, fleshed out in that movie.
Yeah.
While also, setting the whole platform for the Avengers. Same as the original Thor. I feel like try to do a lot with not much. An hour and 40 minutes. You need to really flesh out the bases a lot more solidly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and now what was peak in Marvel, for sure?
In the actual MCU?
Yeah, in Infinity Saga.
Oh, there's a few. Oh, look, God, what would be number one for me in the Infinity Saga? I mean, it's close. It's close. I thought Ragnarok was pretty good. Thor Ragnarok, I liked that one.
Ragnarok?
That one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought that balanced the comedy, the action, everything pretty well. They finally got a movie right with Chris Hemsworth and his character.
Yeah.
They finally got a movie right. That probably that wouldn't be number one. I think number one for me, it's got to be without a doubt. What am I talking about? Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War is number one for me. MC everything.
Now, is it because everyone dies? Like, is that the main reason why Infinity? Like, so basically, what you're saying is you essentially hate Marvel and you want all characters to die, and you wanted Thanos to win. Is that what you're?
Yep. Yeah, I did, and that's the biggest stigma, the biggest stereotype of Marvel is that there was no consequence, there was no cost into any of these movies. Like you have. They're blowing up cities in Ultron, and then what's the consequence for it? They go into that in Civil War, where they realise you guys can't just run around doing whatever you want. There needs to be, acts and laws and the accords and whatever that. But actually, for the stakes, the whole time from beginning to end, watching that movie in 2018, you were on the edge of your seat. You didn't know who was going to make it out of that movie before the dusting happened.
Yeah,
you didn't know
you
didn't know who was going to actually come back.
Yeah,
but by the time that movie was over, you're just like, okay, well this can't be it, because if this was it, there wouldn't be any more. There'd be no more Marvel if that was it. Like what you're just living with you.
Imagine if they just ended it like that, and then
that would have been very interesting if that was the definitive end.
Yeah,
fans would have constantly been.
But it wouldn't have been called the Infinity Saga.
No,
I don't think if it was ended like that.
No,
so yeah, no.
But that's how you do a villain. That's how you do a villain. We're going to come across this problem if we aren't already now, where resources and resources are diminishing, populations constantly growing. Eventually there's a mismatch there, and eliminating half of all life. It's in theory. He had a point.
In theory, it works, but what the funny thing is the problem, it ties with the population issue, right? It's like too many people using too many resources, right? Well, how many of those people are actually productively producing something? I guarantee you, it's not as much as as we would be thinking. So if we, somehow upped, production, if we somehow got a lot more people working, in general, even just up the percentage like by 10, 20%, while the population continues to grow, we'd have a lot more resources.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, you can go from A to Z on, what can stem from that.
Like, I think Thanos has a point if, he thought about it, but then maybe thought about it a little bit more. Like, I get his position, but if you get to a point where you have to sacrifice, your green adopted daughter for what you believe in, it's like that's pretty fucked.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why that was so powerful, because he had the most screen time in that movie, and every second he had the screen, there was something powerful going on. But there's a lot of interesting things that I've heard recently that some lore behind that movie that never really got described was that how did he know where they were how did he know the exact locations of where they were?
What Endgame
of the stones?
How did he know the stones?
How did he know that was there? How did he know that was there? And the other interesting one is that when everyone got dusted, they never really showed how they reappeared. Were they where they last were? Because there was an interesting thing I saw on TikTok the other day. What about the people that were on airplanes when the dusting happened? What about the people that were mid-flight in the air?
You could, you could see this is why I liked Endgame, because you could actually see the fallout from that situation. Like, you saw fucking scenes of the destruction and chaos that society was when fucking Ant-Man, out of all things, breaks out. I would like to say though that Endgame I think could have been a lot better if they went with the idea that Ant-Man had to go through to Thanos' butt. That would have made it peak.
I saw come up the other day. I think it was on Graham Norton. He did that, and he goes, why does it have to be the anus? Why couldn't it be the nose or the mouth or the ear? Why did it have to be that? Why did it have to be that entry point? You know, and
well, that would be if Thanos or Ant-Man would be on The Boys or something like that. I'm sure you've heard of The Boys. Yeah, I've never spoken to you about The Boys.
Yeah,
What do you think of The Boys?
Have not seen one episode.
All right, well, if you're gonna get me to watch an Australian movie, I'm gonna get you to watch.
On my trip, going back to my trip, there was a guy that mega fan of it, and he said, it starts out one way and then it pans out and it's not what you think it was, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that's definitely something I'm going to sit down and commit the time to. There's a bunch of shows I got to catch up on. It comes down to time and interest, and there's a lot of good stuff. If
you appear on at some point on this podcast, later on in this journey of this podcast, you will be held to account. So I will have gotten you to have watched, the Boys. I know I will ask you again, and I wouldn't want you to, completely embarrass yourself, by saying that, I've got to get to it, and then, it's been like 5 or 6 months later or something, and I still haven't gotten to it.
Definitely will be setting the time aside to watch that. I've heard too many good things about it. There's really only been one key focus for me in terms of TV, and what that is. As much as there's been like 50 different spin-offs from it, at the moment it's the show's on hiatus. The main show ended 2 years ago, nearly. Yeah, 2 years ago. The Walking Dead, by the way, guys, that's my all-time favorite. Yeah. Controversial. A lot of people, differ on it, and they're unsettled on that call.
Well, there are some people that are actually scared to watch The Walking Dead, and I'm like, bro, grow some fucking balls.
Well, it's like,
like The Walking Dead is nowhere near as violent as fucking anything out there that's pretty fucking horrendous. Like,
well, I mean, look, definitely when you start out watching it, you're thinking that it's setting a tone with the gore and it's setting a tone with the the violence and whatnot. And obviously it's a survival. The world has ended apocalypse-wise. And you just how can you market it any other way?
Yeah.
There's going to be gore. There's going to be and. There's moments, I won't go into exact moments, there's probably someone out there somewhere that will want to watch it, I'm sure, Good show, watch it, but I won't go into specific moments. But there was moments in the later seasons where, they lost so much viewership because they went to the critics, everything too violent this, too violent that, and it's like...
Is this after Rick Grimes was gone, or...?
No, this is before. This is, for those that know, this is when Negan makes his appearance into the show.
Yeah.
He's literally the episode after he appears. It's there was a lot of divide. That episode got 17 million viewers, and then slowly and then when the show ended, it only had about 3 million viewers.
Wow.
So we're talking about that much decline.
Yeah.
And
I do wish they, like that fucking character, out of all people, should have been fucking brutal.
Yeah. No, look,
he was a menace. I will agree with that, but he could have been a lot more. But he's a great actor.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. is one of the best.
Little pig.
Me in. That's one of many iconic lines. No, look, cannot fault the acting or the performance. I think. You think a villain, you think him. I can't go into the whole arc because we'll be sitting here for another hour. But he has a spin-off with Lauren Cohan, Maggie, which it's slow but steady. Based in New York. It was effective. It's 6 episodes. The first show, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan just has a way to really into every scene.
Yeah,
he's that good. But look, it's a shame that. Sort of after the 5th season. Oh no, sixth season, because the sixth season is my favourite. that's where it kind of lost its direction, I think. You know, it went, because obviously it's based off a comic book, guys. It's based off a graphic novel, comic book.
And a lot of changes were made for the TV show.
That's
like,
right. That's,
a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how much, but yeah.
Well, even, like you're talking about like locations and, you know, like changing up. This person died at this moment in this significant, you know, scene or page. Swapping that character around with someone that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
You know, there's some real iconic moments where they done the old switcheroo, and it was effective. You know, I'm not a diehard like comic fan. My love for that show did not stem from the comics. A lot of people, because the comics come out like really early 2000s.
Yeah,
Robert Kirkman, 2003.
Yeah,
around.
And now the creator of Invincible.
Yes, amazing storyteller, amazing. Yeah, he absolutely killed it. And you know, the comics even got a real hard like crash, you know, and burn like review, like how it ended, because it was so abrupt. And you know, I think at 193 issues. Yeah, you know, and I think people, you know, I follow a lot of like people that their love stemmed from the comics, and they thought there was so much like left.
Yeah,
and the way it ended was really disappointing, and I agree. Like I have caught up on it, and really disappointing, because there was a lot more to tell. I think it just comes down to he didn't want to just be recognised for that Invincible. He wants to be, he wants to do other things, and I get that. I get that, and you know the show ran out of direction. It did pretty much all it could do, I would say. Yeah, it's just a shame that, you know, they've had different showrunners with different, you know, directions to take the story, and you know, sort of that season 7 to 8 part. You know, a lot of the audience members dipped just before, you know, we had Angela Kang come in on the show, and I'm getting real deep into it now, but and she completely just she just took a syringe and just injected, you know, not enjoyment but like intrigue. You know, she completely revitalised it. You know, there was a major story arc that people were dying to see play out in those seasons, because you know they kind of the pacing, the arc before that just wasn't right, and that's why, you know, as I said, that premiere got 17 million viewers, and then you're just noticing it just slowly declined, because it was like 3.9 million only tuned in for the finale, which was disappointing.
Yeah. It is sad to see, but like I'm glad that they were able to make that spin-off with Rick, because, you know, Rick was my favourite character. Yeah. I had to drop off after Rick, you know, was gone. Like I didn't know.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's tuning in.
Well, I mean,
that happened going on 6 years ago, the Rick disappearance. But
where is Rick?
It took 5+ years to get The Ones Who Live, and I got to say, The Ones Who Live delivered. It delivered.
Oh, okay. It did deliver.
Once again, a lot of controversy, squeezing a lot into 6 episodes. It probably could look. It delivered for me, but it could have delivered more. I feel like it was so much. It was really rushed. It was really rushed. But to see Andrew Lincoln come back and inherit that role again, and to do something different, to do something fresh with it, absolutely killed it in that regard. But yeah, you know, I watched a lot of reviews on it, and I did find myself agreeing that it could have been paced better. When you're relying on telling your story in one season, 6 episodes, some of them weren't even an hour. It's tough.
I did see, some TikTok clips of like the ending, and like how the kid doesn't really look that happy to see Rick. I mean, his young daughter is like, you know, happy, but I mean, I guess it kind of like makes sense that he wouldn't be as happy as her, but he's so like blank dead in the face. He's like.
Yeah,
you can have a little bit of excitement, buddy.
The acting. I don't know how that made it to the final cut. That act. I don't want to be harsh on that kid. I don't even know he's.
It's not the kid's fault. It's the bloody production's fault.
And the kid's young. And you know, look, you got to think. Like in that moment, he had never met him before. He had never met him, but the reaction to finding out that it was him. you got to think if you were in that situation, you would have reacted a little bit differently extremely differently to how this kid reacted.
Because wasn't Michonne? I'm sure. Like, this is me assuming. Like, I'm just going off what I'm thinking. That wouldn't Michonne have like at least told him what his father would have been like?
Well, she did say in her final episode to Judith that if she was coming back, she was coming back with him. You know, like she was coming back to find the brave man that.
Oh, so there was no scene where she talks to him and is like, you know, Rick was your father, and he was very, very good to me. Yeah, or something.
Yeah. Oh,
okay. All right.
There was context for that.
Okay.
But he hadn't seen him. There was no pictures of him or anything. So, you know, there's no secret that he didn't recognise him. That come down to acting. And it come down to a performance.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it wasn't.
Sorry, kid, your first debut and you fucked it.
But that Judith, the actor that plays Judith, she's killing it. She played young. She played someone young in Marvel. Can't remember, who did she play?
Oh,
I'm having a mind blank. I can't remember. But going, Kaylee Presley Fleming, her name is, and she's going on to bigger, better things. Because she's a great actor.
Oh, okay.
She's a really good actor. She come in and, you know, filled the part well.
Wow.
Really, really well. But yeah, I was really, really hyped up for that series because, you know, Rick Grimes is pretty iconic to me, pretty significant to me. You know, probably my number one protagonist. I've got a lot to uncover. I've got to watch The Boys. I've seen like one or two episodes of Game of Thrones. Got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I will say, look, the thing with The Boys is like the concept is really, really interesting. You know, as soon as it starts, like, you know, Anthony Starr, his fucking performance of Homelander is really fucking good. You know, just to show, you know, what these superheroes, you know, could be as these, you know, deemed gods. You know, kind of like what Zack Snyder was trying to do, but, you know, you kind of don't need to do that, you know, as the main superheroes. But anyway, so The Boys, you know, gets a little bit too political sometimes, and it's very obvious who they're trying to attack, which is, you know, really obvious.
Yeah.
You know, I wish that they would be a little bit more, you know, in between, you know, the two sides. Like, there's times where it leans one side and then it's like really obvious that it's the other or whatever. I wish they were a little bit more middle. I guess though, this season 4 though, it was very questionable for me because I got my mum into it actually.
Okay.
So like, she's really interested, you know, the special effects and everything. And then you know, it's been pushing her limits, you know.
Yeah.
I really do push my mother's limits sometimes. Yeah. Not just, you know, because, you know, I'm that awesome and I push her limits, but because of some of the shows. I see that
direction I thought that was taking. Look, I got a lot of spaces to fill in regards to that show. Like I've heard, I mean, all the feedback I've heard about that is good, you know, and what you're saying is I'm yet to hear about a show from anyone. One that I haven't seen where they've nailed it every season.
Yeah.
Where every season's been an absolute thrill.
Yeah.
You know, and they've just got everything right.
I will say with number 4, I don't like how, you know, the main character, Huey, he goes through like this. This is a spoiler, so, you know, hopefully you don't remember it, but, you know, he kind of gets brutally raped, right? And
wow.
Yeah. It's a pretty fucking weird ass scene, and it goes for like at least a good 20 fucking minutes. And I'm sitting with my mum fucking watching this. Yeah.
Relating to what you just said.
Yeah. So, and it's treated like it's a joke, and that's what I didn't like about that at all. Because you know, there's this one character called Starlight, and she has the same thing happen to her, but it's actually treated with a lot more respect and care. You know, the writers actually said that, oh, you know, we consulted with all these people, you know, about how we should do this scene and how we should take care about it, you know, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to a male who's, you know, the main character, no, let's just treat that as a fucking joke, which I don't like at all, you know.
Yeah, that's almost hard to comprehend.
Yeah,
what you can focus on that for that long.
Yeah,
like, you gotta. Yeah, that's a tough.
Yeah, Mum had to turn around quite a few times, and I was like, I don't know how long this is going to keep on going, but I'm sure it'll stop soon. Just give it time. Just give it time. And yeah, it was very fucking awkward. Yeah. Very fucking awkward. Because now she's questioning whether she likes the show. Whether she likes the show or not. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, that's valid.
Yeah.
Valid, but look, I got a lot of spaces to fill. I got a lot of my own, opinions to form. Like, yeah, there's a bunch, as I said, I keep saying I got a bunch to catch up on. I said when Walking Dead finished, I was going to catch up on, and I haven't, and that's nearly 2 years of saying I'm going to watch this, I'm going to watch that, going to watch this, going to watch that. It hasn't happened, but that is definitely something I'm going to nail down and cover.
Good.
For sure. That'll be interesting when I come. when I come to that part.
When you come to that part
that you just spoke about.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Let me know for sure. Now, I am going to think about wrapping up things here.
Yep.
But I do want to actually talk about one thing. You appeared in something that we've been working on in the background for quite a while now. Now, this actually stems from the origins, I guess, of what we've been talking about, because I actually gave Connor the basic, it was very basic rundown of, the story that, we're trying to develop. We hadn't written any story yet. I just drew up a few pictures here and there. Yeah. I started off with like character descriptions and personalities and stuff, and the story kind of slowly started to come out. Now, in terms of what you've seen and now been a part of, I guess what is the difference between the two now? So when we had that conversation, and then now you appearing as someone in the animation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, when you presented the idea to me, like I was iffy. I was iffy on it. I was trying to see what you were saying.
Yeah.
And I think it was upon narrowing it down and picking out the best parts, and because like he threw a lot at me when he was explaining the project. Like there was storyboards, there was these massive things of pages, and he's like, "Oh, do you want me to read it to you?" I'm like, "That's a lot for you to read." So I read it, and I think me reading it in my head, like you got to think this is something that's been in his head for I would say years, right?
Yeah, now it's coming up to 2.5 pretty much, yeah.
So you've had this well-entrenched, well-formed idea. Suddenly I'm now... Look, I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to lie and say, oh, look, it's going to be an instant hit, just because you dreamt it, it's going to be the hottest hit. But no, like upon seeing you picking out the best parts and saying this is what I'm doing, I was following what you were posting on the channel, and I was like, okay, I can, and you were telling me a lot of stuff behind the scenes, what you were trying to get to in the end. And, in the end, he pitched, I guess you could say the right parts or, the best parts to me. And I could see where he was going. And, what was it, like not even 2 weeks ago, you showed me some of the things that have been happening, production-wise. And, impressive. I've got to say, like, I'm interested to
actually
see. Yeah, well.
Because, like, I do think for the price of the animation, it's a little bit,
Look, everything has a price tag.
Yeah,
what you're trying to achieve has, a range of price tags. It's a ranged kind of thing. But it's at the end of the day, if it's solid enough, story wise, if people can, get behind what you're putting forward, which I eventually could after, it took me a while to get around to it. And, when I got, offered a part, I was surprised, I guess, because, I'm no voice actor. I love voice acting. People are like, games and stuff like that. Some of the voice acting performances, like, man, it's like almost as tough as acting from what you see these people go through. Not even just like the mocap and that. But
yeah. I was surprised that you were willing to do it. Like, I was kind of asking you out of like, oh, hopefully I can, get some numbers down, because I was kind of thinking you were going to say no. Yeah. I was really thinking that you were going to say no.
When you told me about it,
pretty much said fucking yes. Yeah. Like, I was like, fucking what? Yeah, that's crazy.
There wasn't much of a thought process. For me, like, I'm just a big fan of, voice acting, and to play, it was an interesting part, but to play it, and see how it's all going to come together.
I think what we might have to do is, like, you know, for the next, animation, you know, if we get to do it, we all might get it recorded, you know, in this studio here, because, like, you know, there are moments where I think your one, you know, from your recording sounds a little bit too muffled a bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, that's something that, you know, we can learn from and go, okay, this is what we can apply to the next one.
It wasn't the bit. I don't have any Blue Yetis.
I
don't have like the pro streamer set up with, you know, this type of thing going on. Like, like, no wonder it sounded muffled. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that.
You recorded it out of your iPhone. Like, you know, that's all you could do.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, there's no judgments. Like, but yeah, we'll try and get everyone to sound better next time, hopefully.
Yeah.
But
can't sound any worse. Can't sound any worse. Look,
how did you find the dialogue of it?
I mean, interesting. Like, I will say there's, you know, like, specific dialogue. Like, there's some things that you've created for the story that I had no idea what the hell I was saying, but, you know, that was interesting to, you know, without, because I never, when I recorded the lines and I recorded them and just sent them to him, I was expecting him to fully say, you know, you haven't said this right, or you haven't said that right, or, you know, I wasn't doing this in the right tone or whatever, because that's, you know, tonally what is written on there, you're probably getting at something that I was way off key or way off the pacing, like, but although the quality of the sound wasn't good, I think I did like 3-4 takes.
You did heaps of takes.
You know, I went full on acting pro and I did multiple takes. That thing. But, you know, and I'm glad that, you know, although the quality wasn't great in some of them, that I could, you know, nail the performance.
Yeah, and you nailed it. You nailed it fine, and hopefully, you know, you'll be known as you know, as who this character is for the remainder of your life.
Yeah, my first and probably last creditation in film. I hope not.
Hopefully not the last.
Not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Who knows what's around the corner, Trump? No.
Now, before we go, I have an announcement to make. So, by the time that this podcast gets released, we will have a book that will be published.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, so the book is finally going to be fucking done. Man, it is, honestly, it's been, like, just pissing me off that, like, I haven't been able to get myself to actually put it out there. But it's now time for the first one to be released. The second one will be soon to follow. There'll be a TBA eventually, but this will be our first published book along with Jasper. You know, unfortunately Jasper's not here to be part of the announcement, but we are here, we are coming, and we're here to take over Hollywood, baby. And, you know, the only right way to start that is with books. Yeah, we got it.
No, I knew about the book and what you were doing in regards to the book. I did not know that it was that close. I did not know that you were that close to the finished product.
Well,
so it's done, and you just a release date.
Yeah, we're actually up to the 4th book right now. Like, you know,
this guy.
Like, no. It's just that, you know, we've got to, you know, make sure things are, you know, all good. Like, it's much more of a process than that. But look, the writing style, you know, people might be like, oh, but, you know, it's a little bit, writing is a little bit simple, and, oh, you know, like,
well,
my thing is
exactly J.K. Rowling.
No, I'm fucking not.
You know,
I'm fucking not J.K. Rowling, but I am Lincoln fucking Peters, and that's who the fuck I am. Yeah. But what I'm telling you is, it's a simple book about a simple story that gets to the fucking point. We need more books like that. We need more books. I hate reading fucking paragraphs, you know, of information, you know. So yeah.
Look, non-fiction wise, you know, you got to go a certain way, and you know, I know that you've been working on it for a while. I'm shocked that, you know, it's finished. So the first one, it's just the first one.
Just the first one. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it'll be out.
Stay tuned.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Yes. thank you, Connor, for being a guest.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I know it took a lot of interesting turns. I'm glad
we didn't disagree. That's a good thing.
No, stay tuned for the next one. I'm sure. Well, if there is a next one, I'm in. But
yes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Look, I've known this guy for a decade. We didn't really go into how we knew each other. I've known this guy for around about a decade, and
I'm sure we'll go into that next one.
Yeah, we've ummed and ahed on things, but yeah.
I'm interested because it's like I thought we would, go into all that, but no, we didn't. So next time, an incentive to come back.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.